Coming up on this issue of Section 2815, I'll go through some DC news and we'll look at our first local comic shop that you nominated. Coming up right after this. Welcome to this issue of Sector 2815. As always, I'm Paul Cook, and if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're so inclined, and don't forget to hit the notification button so that you are notified whenever I upload new content. We'll get to the local comic shop in our first spotlight in just a second, but first, here's a quick look at the news. In some DC news from the November solicitations, Tom Taylor announced his next big project with DC, one he says he's been working on for 2 years with artist Yasmin Putri. The 12-issue series, entitled Dark Knights of Steel, is said to be a cross between Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and the DC Universe. It is just the sort of world building that Taylor is known for and promises to be epic in scope, described by Taylor as a tale of war and love, of despair and hope, of betrayal and improbable alliances forged in battle. The acclaimed creative team behind Image's Descender and Ascender team up once again for a new 3-issue prestige miniseries called Robin and Batman. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Gwinn team up to tell the legendary story of Batman and Robin, which has reached mythic proportions. The crime-fighting dynamic duo, always one step ahead of the criminals they pursue and never meeting a case too big. However, this is not that story. This is the story of a young Dick Grayson, newly orphaned, struggling to find his way in a strange, difficult, dark new world. This is the story of Robin and Batman. Earlier this year, DC ran a round-robin series of votes to see which new series would see print. The winner was the series Robins, which DC describes this way. The 5 heroes who have donned the Robin cape and mask find themselves at a crossroads in their lives. Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, and Damian Wayne come together to discuss the big thing that binds them together. Was being Robin and Batman's sidekick the best choice they could have made? But before they can get to the heart of the matter, they're ambushed by an unknown assailant with a bone to pick with them. She claims to have been the first Robin, and she's out to prove Batman should have never trained any of them. Tim Seeley and Baltimore Rivas will put the Robins through their paces. Fresh off the ending of Infinite Frontier comes Justice League Incarnate, where that group must defend the multiverse from Darkseid across infinite Earths. This 5-issue miniseries will be co-written by the team of Joshua Williamson and Dennis Culver, and Brandon Peterson is on the art for issue number 1. And finally, in some news not to go over very well, James Tynion IV has announced that his hit series The Nice House on the Lake will be taking a 5-month hiatus after issue number 6. No reason has been given for the break, but it does coincide with the start of Tynion's Substack publishing. And that's a quick look at the news. So when I first started this channel, I told everyone that one of the things I wanted to do was to try and give back to the comic community, specifically the local comic shops. Let's face it, publishers don't always make it easy for the LCSs, whether it is from pushing more and more content to a digital platform, delays in issues, not giving LCSs enough lead time on important storylines or incentive covers so they have an adequate time to increase their orders and bring in more revenue, you name it. And so I asked you, the viewer, to nominate some LCSs that I can spotlight. I received a few suggestions, and so I'm asking once again, do you have a particular LCS that you love? Maybe they always have the current issues you look for, or maybe they have an incredible back issue selection, or maybe they're just good, hardworking, down-to-earth people who know that the comic collecting community is the best there is. Let me know if you have an LCS you want to nominate in the comment section below. Our first LCS Spotlight was nominated by Kevin Redina, Karate Kevin 67 on Instagram, and the man behind Superpower Review and the incredible YouTube show What's That Comic Book. He nominated Coliseum of Comics, which also so happens to be my local comic shop in Florida. Coliseum of Comics is one of the largest comic book chains in the country, currently with 9 stores. There are 3 in the Jacksonville, Florida area, 4 in the Orlando and Greater Orlando area, 1 in Lakeland, Florida, and 1 in Tampa, Florida. One of the best things going for Coliseum of Comics is its size. Since it is 9 locations, they usually order enough books to qualify for even the rarest of the rare incentive covers. And they offer a loyalty program as well. They have loyalty cards which for every $10 you spend, you get a store stamp. And once you fill up a card of 10 stamps, you can use that card for $10 off your purchase. And if you have a pull box and subscribe to even 1 book, the card becomes a subscriber card and you get $15 off after you collect 10 stamps. Plus, for every $10 of new comics you buy, you also get $1 in back issue bucks that can be used to buy any back issue, including their most expensive back issues. Now, the selection of key back issue books can vary from location, with their flagship store at the Millennium Mall in Orlando and their largest location in Kissimmee, Florida, having the best back issue selections and where you're more likely to find the most key books. But each location has a well-stocked wall selection with varied books. If you're into statues or role-playing games, Coliseum has you covered as well, with most locations hosting Magic the Gathering or Dungeons & Dragon nights. Additionally, they run a quarterly warehouse sale where you can find loads of back issues, overstock trades, and hardbacks at high percentage discounts. So if you're ever in the Central Florida area, I would encourage you to give Coliseum of Comics a try. And as I mentioned, let me know if you have an LCS that you want me to try and spotlight. And that's going to do it for this issue of Sector 2815. Again, I'm Paul Cook. If you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're so inclined, and make sure you hit the notification button so that you're alerted whenever I upload new content. I'm Paul Cook. I'll see you next time, and you are now leaving Sector 2815.